Malibu Rising, We Were Liars by 𝒐𝒑𝒆𝒏, The Vanishing Half, Beach Read by Emily Henry, The Maidens, Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han, Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are all doing well. Today I'm going to be telling you guys my summer 2021, what am I saying? My summer 2021 reading list. I'm actually going to make a page on my Goodreads of a list of all these books, and I will be linking that in the description below so you guys can check it out, and you'll have like a easier way to see all the books that I'm recommending, or not that I'm recommending, that I'm mentioning in today's video. I will be updating when I'm finishing reading a book and saying if I ended up liking it or not, because I mean, I'm only adding these books onto my list because of other people's recommendations, but I might not actually end up liking them or liking them as much as other people have. Again, follow my Goodreads so you get like my full opinion on the book. I'm not gonna write like a huge essay, but I will give like a rating out of 5 stars, which is like the usual thing that you do. For most of these books, I don't have like actual physical copies because I'm gonna like try and rent them out in the library because it's just cheaper, and I have a membership to my like public county library, so it just makes sense for me to rent them and not like actually buy them, because I don't know if you can see, but up here I have like my little bookshelf and it's getting filled up and I don't have any more space, so I need to start renting books. And I'm also gonna be saving money. Each book costs like $11-15 and it adds up. So if you can't afford to buy books, just try and go to your local library and rent them there. That's like the only thing that I can recommend, really. So I'm gonna start off with a book that I've already read, but I want to mention because it's a really good summer book and I kind of regret not reading it in the summer because I feel like it just fits perfectly with summer because it's set in the summer. And it is the book We Were Liars by 𝒐𝒑𝒆𝒏. This book is like a summer thriller mystery type of book. I read it in like a week, I think. It's a very easy read. It really does keep you on your toes. I'm gonna read like a quick little synopsis about it. A beautiful and distinguished family, a private island, a brilliant, damaged girl, a passionate political boy, a group of 4 friends, the liars, whose friendship turns destructive, a revolution, an accident, a secret, lies upon lies, true love, the truth. Read it, and if anyone asks you how it ends, just lie. Honestly, like that's like a pretty good explanation of the book. I can't really say much without like giving away the book, and I think that's why the description of the book is so vague, because like I feel like if you just mention one thing then you kind of give it away. Just trust me, this is a really good book. Very easy read. You could read it in like probably 2 or 3 days if you're really just like reading it through and through. I wish I could read it again, but I can't read books again. It's like I can't watch shows again and I can't read books again. It's just like it's like a mental thing. I don't know why. Next is a book that I'm actually reading right now, and it is the book A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. My last like video about reading, I think it was like how I fell in love with reading again, I mentioned One Day in December, which is a book based in England. I just love like the culture there, and I think it's just like really interesting. I was at Target like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago and I saw this book, and if you don't know, I'm Cuban. My family's Cuban. Me and my brothers are like the first generation in my family to be born in America. Both my parents were like raised Cuban and were born there, so like the Cuban culture is like very like near and dear to my heart. So when I saw this, like I knew that Tea and Tomorrow was like about England, so it was like the perfect combination of like Cuban culture and like England, which is like 2 things that I love, obviously. I don't know, like I saw the book and I was like, oh my god, I need it right now. So I grabbed it and bought it, and I've been reading it. It has been like a little difficult to read. Like I think I just haven't been in the mindset right now to be reading. Like I feel like when you're reading, it comes in like waves. Like there's a month where you're reading like 5 books, and then 1 month where you just read 1 book, and I'm in that like 1 book a month phase right now. But it is good. I just haven't like gotten myself into it really. For Lila Reyes, a summer in England was never part of the plan. The plan was 1. Take over her abuela's role as head baker at their panaderia. 2. Move in with her best friend after graduation. And 3. Live happily ever after with her boyfriend. But then the trifecta happened and everything, including Lila herself, fell apart. Worried about Lila's mental health, her parents make a plan for her. Spend 3 months with family friends in Winchester, England to relax and reset. With a lack of sun, a grumpy inn cook, and a small town lacking Miami flavor, both in food and otherwise, what would be a dream trip for some feels more like a nightmare to Lila, until she meets Orion Maxwell. Ooh. A tea shop clerk with troubles of his own, Orion is determined to help Lila out of her funk and appoints himself as her personal tour guide. From Winchester's drama-filled music scene to the sweeping English countryside, it isn't long before Lila is not only charmed by Orion, but England itself. Soon, a new future is beginning to form in Lila's mind, one that would mean leaving everything she ever planned behind. Very interesting. I know I did mention that I don't have most of these books, but this is the only book that I haven't read yet that I actually have in my possession, and it is The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. This author is the same author of To All the Boys I Loved Before. I've obviously seen the movies, but I haven't read the books yet. But I've heard from a lot of people that this like series is like way better than To All the Boys. I've actually had this book for, yeah, I got this book around the same time that I got We Were Liars, so in like March or February. And yeah, it was March when I bought that book. I just like never got into reading this book, and now that it's summertime, I feel like it's the perfect time to read the book because it literally says summer in the title. Belly measures her life in summers. Everything good, everything magical happens between the months of June and August. Winters are simply a time to count the weeks until the next summer. A place away from the beach house, away from Susanna, and most importantly, away from Jeremiah and Conrad. They are the boys that Belly has known since her very first summer. They have been her brother figures, her crushes, and everything in between. But one summer, one terrible and wonderful summer, the more everything changes, the more it all ends up just the way it should have been all along. I'm excited to read this. I mean, obviously, like, To All the Boys is like such a like staple movie now, and I've heard great things about this book, so I'm excited to see if it is actually better than the To All the Boys series. So I'm very excited. Okay, so now these are the books that I don't have in my possession, so I'm gonna be like putting a little picture over here so you guys can like have a visual of what the like actual cover looks like. The next book is a book that I've been seeing like online so much these past couple weeks, and it is Beach Read by Emily Henry. I feel like the title is like very self-explanatory as to why it's a summer reading book, because it literally has the word beach in it and read, and there's nothing better to do on the beach than read, if you know what I mean. Like peanut butter and jelly is like going to the beach and reading. It's like the same thing, like they go hand in hand. It's like the best thing ever. Augustus Everett is an acclaimed author of literary fiction. January Edwards writes best-selling romance. When she pens A Happily Ever After, he kills off his entire cast. They're polar opposites. In fact, the only thing they have in common is that for the next 3 months, they're living in neighborhood beach houses, broke and bogged down with writer's block. Until one hazy evening, one thing leads to another, and they strike a deal designed to force them out of their creative ruts. Augustus will spend the summer writing something happy, and January will pen the next great American novel. She'll take him on field trips worthy of a rom-com montage, and he'll take her to interview surviving members of a backwood death cult, obviously. Everyone will finish a book and no one will fall in love. Really. Another book that I'm like very excited to read. The next book is The Maidens, and it is written by the same author as The Silent Patient. I actually have the book, let me grab it. But yeah, this is The Silent Patient. It's written by Alex, I have no idea how to say that last name, Alex Michaelides. I feel like it's Michaelides because it's like Michael but Lides. Michaelides, it's the same author. The Silent Patient was such a good book, like a huge twist at the end, and I feel like anyone that reads this book like did not expect the ending. Edward Fasha is a murderer. Of this, Mariana is certain, but Fasha is untouchable. A handsome and charismatic Greek tragedy professor at Cambridge University, Fasha is adored by staff and students alike, particularly by the members of secret society of female students known as the Maidens. Mariana Andros is a brilliant but troubled group therapist who becomes fixated on the Maidens when one member, a friend of Mariana's niece Zoe, is found murdered in Cambridge. Mariana, who was once herself a student at the university, quickly suspects that behind the idyllic beauty of the spires and turrets and beneath the ancient traditions lies something sinister. She becomes convinced that, despite his alibi, Edward Fasha is guilty of the murder. But why would the professor target one of his students? And why does he keep returning to the rites of Persephone, the maiden, and her journey to the underworld? When another body is found, Mariana's obsession with proving Fasha's guilt spirals out of control, threatening to destroy her credibility as well as her closest relationship. But Mariana is determined to stop this killer, even if it costs her everything, including her own life. I feel like there's a lot of layers to this book, and I'm excited to like pick at it. I feel like that's gonna be like another really popular book for the next couple months because The Silent Patient was just so good and like everyone's hyping him up, so I'm very excited to read that book. This book I've seen like literally everywhere too for at least like the past year or so. The Vanishing Half. I've seen so many people talk about this book, and that's really all I can say about it, and I read the synopsis and I was like really interested in it, So let's read the synopsis. The Viñas twin sisters will always be identical, but after growing up together in a small southern black community and running away at age 16, it's not just the shape of their daily lives that is different as adults. It's everything. Their families, their communities, their racial identities. Many years later, one sister lives with her black daughter in the same southern town she once tried to escape. The other passes for white, and her white husband knows nothing about her past. Still, even separated by so many miles and just as many lies, the fates of the twins remain intertwined. What will happen to the next generation when their own daughter's storylines intersect? Very interesting. Weaving together multiple strands and generations of this family from the deep south to California, from the 1950s to the 1990s, Britt Bennett produces a story that is once a riveting, emotional family story and a brilliant exploration of the American history of passing. I'm really into books that like time travel a lot, so it'll start off in like this one, it'll start off in the 50s and then end up being in the 90s, and there's like so much growth and change in that time, and it's always really interesting to see how the writer plans it out. I feel like it's gonna be a very like drama filled book. Very excited to read it. The next book is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Taylor Jenkins Reid. Sorry, I get a little confused very easily, especially with names and reading. I saw the cover of the book. I'm gonna put it right here, and it's in the water. It's summery. It's Malibu. That just like is the perfect summer book. That's literally the only reason why I picked it. It's the day of Nina Riva's annual end of summer party. Everyone wants to be around the famous Rivas. Nina, the talented surfer and supermodel, brothers Jay and Hud, one a championship surfer, the other a renowned photographer, and their adored baby sister, Kit. Together, the siblings are a source of fascination in Malibu and the world over, especially as the offspring of the legendary singer Mick Riva. The only person not looking forward to the party of the year is Nina herself, who never wanted to be the center of attention and who has also just been very publicly abandoned by her pro tennis player husband. Oh, and maybe Hud, because it is long past time for him to confess something to the brother from whom he's been inseparable since birth. Jay, on the other hand, is counting the minutes until nightfall when the girl he can't stop thinking about promised she'll be there. And Kit has a couple secrets of her own, including a guest she invited without consulting anyone. Ooh, spicy. Okay. So is this book like all... Okay, sorry, I'm like already like thinking of what's gonna happen. By midnight, the party will be completely out of control. By morning, the Riva mansion will have gone up in flames. Before that first spark in the early hours before dawn, the alcohol will flow, the music will play, and the loves and secrets that shaped this family's generation will all come bubbling to the surface. Oof. That's very interesting. That sounds like a very good book. It's like a movie that's like everything happens in one night. Books like that are also really good because they're very detailed and you're like more on your feet, you know? Well, I have goosebumps. I'm so excited to read that book. Oh my gosh. Okay. Those are all the books that I have on my list as of now. Hopefully I will be able to read more books by September. I feel like September is usually when like summer ends. I feel like I'll be able to finish reading all these books by then, and maybe I'll include more books. And again, I will link all the books in a little like separate page in my Goodreads, and I'll put the link in the description. And yeah guys, that's basically it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.